Pictures duo with Kevin K. Shaw. And you've been explaining something about crowd controls, and I'm curious, you mentioned how crowd controls and open indie can complement one another, and I'm wondering if you can touch on that for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, later this year we have 2 feature films that we want to release direct to the audience ourselves. And the big question that's been haunting me is, to what audience will I be releasing these films? So finding tools and services that will help us discover where the demand truly is for our films so that we can take them out to theatrical events. And by theatrical, I mean a theater, but scalable all the way down to a coffee shop, that sort of thing. I wanted to find tools and services that would allow us to find where the demand was. And a couple months ago, Open Indie started their Kickstarter campaign, and I donated $100 right away so that I could be one of the first filmmakers to be on the site when it debuts. And roughly around the same time, I started talking to a person named Brian Churls, who was the architect behind the audience building tools that For It Monsters was using. And he had his own service called Crowd Controls that is in private beta at the moment. So I started using both of these around the same time. And, on a superficial level, they look very similar. And I thought, at first glance that I was going to have to choose one or the other, that I would be sort of splitting the audience between 2 very similar tools. But the deeper I got into them, I realized that wasn't necessarily the case. The reason being, they both deal with 2 components: discovery of the films and the distribution of the films. They both help with each of those avenues, but they're each weighted to one or the other more so than the other one. Open Indie, I think, this is my opinion, is going to serve as a great tool as the community grows for the discovery of these films, and then it's also going to provide an avenue for the distribution, because people who discover the films and are motivated can host a screening, or I can host a screening. But the audience there is sort of it's not a closed network, but it's the people who request your film are their privacy is protected in that they're only going to hear from me if a screening is set up near them. That'll trigger an automated email to notify them that there's now a screening close enough to them that they could attend. Crowd Controls is different in that anybody who requests to see the films, I have access to all of their data. I can make direct contact to them through email. I know what city they're in. I know their zip code, their postal code. But again, the privacy concerns are actually very strict with Crowd Controls in that European privacy laws are very, very strict, and it adheres to all of them. But Crowd Controls, where it's not as strong as Open Indie in the discovery element, it is much stronger in the distribution element because I do have that direct relationship that I can nurture with people who've requested to see the films. So, and that speaks to our core strategy for releasing the films, which is prior to release, we want to gather up the audience, find out where they are, who they are, and be able to talk to them so that when we do release the films, we can convert all of those to sales in one form or another, whether it's tickets at a box office or DVD sales. We can continue to contact them with regard to when it debuts on cable VOD or Netflix or iTunes, that sort of thing.